Are we living in a Keir Starmer dictatorship? Rumours were swirling that Labour was going to cancel the local elections in England.
Why aren't they all going ahead?
And I would say, even before the white paper has been published,
maybe there's a problem with the line. Why aren't they going ahead, Minister?
Well, at the moment, the assumption is that elections are going ahead. However, it's usual in a process of reorganisation that when a council makes a request for reorganisation, that if there are elections taking place to a council that it essentially won't exist within the term of those elections, then you hold off the elections and you elect to a shadow body, and the shadow body basically is a form of...
Since Keir Starmer took office as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, he has consistently let the public down. The level of dissatisfaction with his government has escalated to such a critical point that citizens are now calling for new general elections before 2029. Amid this mounting tension, Keir Starmer received an unwelcome Christmas surprise. Just before the holiday season, it was revealed that Michael Westwood's petition for the immediate holding of elections had garnered over 3 million signatures. This was a significant blow for Starmer, who had hoped to enjoy Christmas with his family, but now must confront this urgent and troubling issue. While he managed to deflect pressure during the last parliamentary debate, claiming that the government is focused on strengthening foundations, rebuilding Britain, and restoring public trust, there is a palpable sense that his words no longer inspire the confidence he wishes to convey.
Isn't blushing though. Right, where are we going to start? Should we start with some doom? You can be our newspaper Grinches this morning. Claire, Daily Mail front page. Economy is doomed.
Yeah, well, there's no doom and gloom with Muldoon, but today with Labour, I think there might be. The Mail is leading with economy heading for worst of all worlds. I mean, it is the Mail. They want to be quite anti-Labour, let's be honest. But there is truth, actually, in this headline. We are heading for recession, there's no doubt about it. The impact on small and medium-sized businesses with this employer's hike in national insurance contributions. I know local firms that are, £120,000 a year worse off. That's almost 2 full-time equivalents. What are they going to do? And with the Angela Rayner's new laws for bringing new Labour in, Labour workers, it's going to be very difficult for employers to get rid of rubbish staff.
Starmer will have to confront this issue again on January the 6th, and it promises to be a significant challenge. He is set to face tough times in Parliament right after the festive season, as a tumultuous new year begins. Given the impact of his new policies on millions of Britons, many are eagerly anticipating the moment he will be questioned in Parliament. While Keir Starmer is gearing up for a well-deserved break, he received a dreadful Christmas gift that no politician would want: a wave of negative public reaction that has shaken the foundation of his carefully crafted image. But that's not all. This was followed by a strong public outcry, clearly indicating that his political strategy is no longer effective. The moment Starmer lost his temper reflects not only his personal frustration, but also signals that the facade he has upheld for so long is starting to crack, putting his hopes of maintaining control over the situation in jeopardy.
It's right that Parliament has the first say. But if we need to break the impasse, our options must include campaigning for a public vote, and nobody is ruling out Remain as an option.
Yep, that's him there talking about a second Brexit referendum. The Prime Minister has a track record of not liking it when the public, or the great unwashed, as he may refer to them, vote the wrong way. Cancelling the local elections could be his attempt to make sure they don't even get a chance to vote at all. Is he behaving like a proper Prime Minister, or a tin pot dictator?
In his speeches and interviews, Keir Starmer consistently highlighted the significance of transparency and accountability, which truly resonated with the public wary of the uncertainty that often surrounds politicians. Initially, it appeared that this strategy was working remarkably well. Polls indicated a notable rise in confidence in his leadership, and many voters genuinely believed that Starmer would keep his promises. It felt like a refreshing change in a landscape of political cynicism where hope seemed nearly extinguished. His commitment not to raise taxes particularly resonated with working-class individuals, who were increasingly feeling the strain of rising living costs. However, as is often the case in politics, the initial excitement quickly waned. Supporters began to express doubts, and critics ramped up their attacks. Even loyal members of the Labour Party started to question whether Starmer's centrist stance was a betrayal of the party's fundamental values. This wave of disappointment and discontent has served as a wake-up call, suggesting that the hopes for meaningful change might be nothing more than an illusion.
And now we appear to have confirmation on this. Some local elections due to take place in May next year might now be delayed until 2027. Labour says that they want to postpone them because they're restructuring the councils. Some might not exist in a couple of years' time. But this excuse doesn't really wash. So these local elections were seen as a referendum on Keir Starmer's government. He's currently the most unpopular Prime Minister of modern times with an approval rating of somewhere in the region of -61. And this graph actually shows just how quickly his popularity has nosedived. He is sinking like the Titanic, and Labour are fearful of a monumental kicking in May.
Keir Starmer's political career is in serious crisis and is unravelling at an astonishing pace that has left everyone stunned. His meticulously crafted image as an honest and incorruptible leader is disintegrating before our eyes, particularly in light of shocking evidence revealing plans to raise taxes by an eye-weighting £40 billion. This is a political downfall that cannot be overlooked. Starmer once vowed to usher in a new era of honesty and integrity, sharply contrasting with Boris Johnson's chaotic leadership. Many voters eagerly anticipated these changes, hoping for a brighter future. However, the image that Starmer worked so hard to build as a trustworthy alternative is quickly losing its allure. As a former Attorney General, he established his reputation as someone who speaks candidly, but now even that is failing to shield him from the looming collapse.
Oh my God, yeah, this is what happens in dictatorships. He's acting like, you know, a third world dictator. It's incredible because dictators are very strong people, you know, and he's not at all. You know, he literally can't. Reform, as you said, are surging ahead. You know, Reform now has 100,000 members in this country. The Labour Party has 366,000, so that gives you an idea of how much the support is surging for him. And I think, you know, Harriet Harman at the weekend, I mean, that is pot calling the kettle black here. She said reform is a threat to democracy. What the Labour Party do now is a huge threat to democracy. And interesting, a couple of days before that, Harman had been on another show and she had praised reform and said they were surging ahead and were actually a danger to Labour. And that is absolutely true. And Labour have seen this. They know what's...
Meanwhile, Conservative critics seized every opportunity to mock him, viewing him as superficial and lacking substance. Over time, cracks began to emerge in Starmer's once impeccable image, shocking his supporters. His leadership style, which had previously been lauded for its calmness and caution, was now seen by some as indecisive and weak. Policies that initially appeared clear and promising became vague and ambiguous upon closer inspection, leaving voters bewildered. The first signs of public discontent surfaced when Starmer attempted to articulate a clear opposition stance on how the government was handling various crises. Voters who had been drawn in by his promises of honesty and accountability now felt deceived and betrayed. The widening gap between Starmer's bold declarations and the actual political landscape became increasingly evident and painful. As we will see, this growing frustration reaches a tipping point, threatening to dismantle Starmer's carefully crafted image and plunge him into a chasm of political uncertainty.
It'll be freezing this Christmas while our money goes abroad. It'll be freezing this Christmas. Rachel Reeves is a fraud. It'll be cold, so cold, without fuel at home this Christmas.
Freezing This Christmas, a fantastic song that's been dreamed up by Sir Starmer and the Granny Harmers. It mocks the Prime Minister. The BBC apparently don't want to play it.
Keir Starmer is teetering on the edge of political collapse, and the news of plans to raise taxes by an astonishing £40 billion threatens to obliterate everything he has worked for. This £40 billion bomb is not merely a metaphor, it represents a genuine catastrophe. The Labour Party, under Starmer's leadership, has unveiled a tax increase plan that has sparked a fierce backlash in British politics. How can someone who once promised not to raise taxes justify such a massive hike? The answer to this question underscores just how rapidly the political landscape can shift. When the Labour Party's proposal to raise taxes by £40 billion was revealed, it struck Starmer like a devastating tsunami, completely washing away his carefully crafted image. The public's reaction was immediate and unforgiving. Social media erupted with furious accusations of betrayal. The media, which had previously been captivated by Starmer's pledges of honesty and integrity, now depicted him as a politician unworthy of trust. The glaring disparity between Starmer's tax plans and his manifesto promises has become painfully evident, and this disappointment is relentlessly battering his reputation. What are your thoughts on this video? Share your opinions in the comments, and see you next time.